think Washington has done enough this offseason to close the gap between them and Philadelphia?
Usually I'm not this May Pollyanna, everybody's going to the Super Bowl guy, but I really think they helped their roster and saw a window saying, we're still with year 2 with Jaden Daniels. Let's go get some veterans that can really help. I think Laramie Tunsil is still one of the best tackles in all of football. And I think Deebo Samuel on a contract year with the motivation that, hey, the Niners just said we're better off without you, and there's nothing guaranteed beyond this point, is going to come in motivated and ready to play. I think a lot of times the sophomore quarterbacks fall out, or the step back. That's real. And a lot of that goes because the sophomore season, there's film on the guy now and everyone can watch it. And some of it is, hey, I enjoyed my off season. I was the man. I got to the NFC Championship. That's not Jaden Daniels. Like, Jaden Daniels is working. I know they had walkthroughs the past 2 days, and like, they are so excited in Washington that this guy's going to take an even bigger leap. I thought he took the league by storm and had the best rookie season we've ever seen from a quarterback in the NFL. The best rookie season we've ever seen, taking them all the way to the NFC Championship game on his shoulders, and they got better this offseason, and that doesn't include adding a developmental piece in the draft as the offensive lineman out of Oregon. So, yeah, I mean, look, if you bring back everybody and you still have the same coaching staff and you have Deebo and Tunsil, yes, they got better and they closed the gap.
You enjoyed the New York City experience yet, and what has it been like seeing and hearing from Giants fans out in the streets?
Well, it's so funny because I've been watching the Knicks game all night. I was like, okay, I got to take this break to do this interview, but I'm like, what's the score? It's been fun, man. Just New York City, it's a funny story. My uncle, he ended up passing away, but he was a big time lawyer in New York for a long time and everything else. And I always came to New York. I always loved New York City because he was always here. He's just an amazing individual. I mean, he always wore a Yankees hat. And it doesn't matter if he's come to, back in the day when I was starting as a young rookie, he'd come to I remember I played this game in Chicago as a rookie, and he came to the game. He wouldn't take his Yankees hat off. I was like, oh, you got to at least put, this beanie on, Seahawks beanie on or something, And so I've always loved New York. I've always loved, obviously, the Yankees. I've always, being a Yankee, obviously being a New York Giant now, man, what a privilege, what an honor. I mean, this team's been going since 1925, man. It's a blessing to be a part of it, and the traditions and what that means. And a guy like Eli Manning coming to talk to us, a guy who I got to compete against many a times, who I really respect, talking to us as players the other day, and what it takes to be a Giant and what that means. And so, I'm looking forward to it and all the great things and also the obstacles and all that. But New York City is a great city to be in.
Sobering numbers. How rough of a season do you think it will be for the Giants?
Man, that is a brutal schedule. I'm looking at those first 6 games, Laura, and having trouble seeing more than one win, and that's the New Orleans Saints. Maybe 2, and that's not even about Russ, right? I mean, these are just really good football teams with really good either quarterbacks or pass rushes. And speaking of the pass rushes, Giants have a lot of questions on that offensive line. And they're in a really tricky spot because we've been talking about this ever since they drafted Jackson Dart. You don't want to rush him in, but let me tell you, we've seen this movie before. If they are 1-6, it doesn't even matter if it's Russell Wilson's fault. The calls are going to be coming in hot for them to play the young rookie quarterback, and it's going to be incumbent upon Brian Daboll, their head coach, to not bow to pressure just because of the current results.
The way that we spoke about Jaden Daniels previously in this very segment, and the way we're talking about Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears right now, we're talking about Tim saying it will be an improvement for them to go from 5 wins to 9 wins, don't have to make the playoffs, want a good feeling. All those things are accurate, but think about the expectations that are on Caleb Williams compared to the way we're talking about Jaden Daniels. It's night and day. You would never imagine that these two players were 1 pick apart in the draft, going picks 1 and number 2. And that is where Ben Johnson, the new Chicago Bears head coach, comes in. That is what the Bears are banking on. I know they went out and added 3 offensive linemen and another tight end and another wide receiver. But really, this comes down to whether Ben Johnson can make Caleb Williams the quarterback the Bears thought they were getting when they drafted him number 1 overall, 1 slot before Washington took Jaden Daniels. That's what this is all about. You bring in the quarterback guru, the man that has helped grow Jared Goff, who's been a wizard wherever he's been, who can help Caleb Williams take that next step to become the quarterback that they thought they were getting. And if they can, then who knows if 9 wins is the limit. Anything would be possible if Ben Johnson could make Caleb Williams into the quarterback the Bears think he is.
I think it's the most interesting, fascinating, pressure-loaded team in the NFL.
Yeah.
Because the question gets asked all the time. We're years into this now. When are they going to get it done? What's it going to take? When are they going to get over the hump? And it's a really difficult question to answer. It's not, well, they got to be able to throw the ball better. Nope, that's good. They need more perimeter players. That's great. The candid answer is like, someone's got to make a play when it matters the most. It's almost like when will they get over the hump when they don't choke it away in a way. And I don't want to use that about a team,
no doubt,
an organization that I have such immense respect for. But it does feel like they get into those situations like, well, who's going to make the play to lose the game?
Dan, L'Jarius Sneed knocks the ball out of Zay Flowers' hand on the goal line 2 years ago. Last year, Mark Andrews, I know everyone's so triggered about talking about.
But they're great players.
These are great players.
Who are always clutch except for when they really needed them to be clutch.
And like, if you're talking to a Ravens fan, like I'm saying they have the best roster in football, I know the Ravens fan, they don't want to hear that.
They don't care about it.
I don't want to hear about it anymore.
September, October, November, December.
Talk to me in February.
Can you finally, you are one of those rare teams. Can you finally get it done?
Been in players for the last 5 years. 2020. They've been in the playoffs every year except for one. That 2020 playoff game was when they finished 12-4 and gave up 48 points to Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns in a wild card playoff game. Every year since, they have not won more than, they won 10-7 over the last 2 years. But that's what we're talking about here. Wild card, wild card, wild card.
And the biggest piece, right, to me, Stephen A., the most telling piece about those games is the deficits that they faced in all of those playoff games. So what is that? Is that not being prepared? Is that not being talented enough? They have to find the answer. And I say this and people get mad at me. I believe that Mike Tomlin is unfireable. I believe if Mike Tomlin steps away from being the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, that should be his decision. And I've said time and time again, I do believe that should be the decision he makes. I believe Mike Tomlin should coach in another organization. Mike Tomlin should be a fresh voice somewhere else, because I believe as great as a coach he is, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, I believe his voice has run stale there. I believe he's allowed that team to reach the highest of heights they're going to reach unless they can get a top tier quarterback.
So I'm trying to decipher what you're saying.
He needs to go have his Andy Reid Kansas City run.
Second and goal. Purdy scans, dances, and finds McCaffrey, who broke loose. Touchdown, San Francisco. Bootleg. Sets his feet. Downfield. Ayuk comes free. Great anticipation. Dropped it right to him. Good running offense today. First read was taken away. Purdy's got room to run. Brock Purdy high steps for a first down by Cody Barton.
Nice job. That opening series was not the Brock Purdy we had seen.
He's got a wide open Ayuk crossing the field and beating Woolen. Brandon Ayuk, 31 yards into Seahawks territory.
Everybody happy.
Deep drop for Purdy. He's given all day. Lets it fly for George Kittle. They found a soft spot in that defense a few times today. This time for 23 yards.
I don't know about that. I would say that the schedule shapes up the right way for this team to try to get back on track coming off a 6-11 season. Keep that in mind. 6-11 last year, and then go out and lose any number of players in free agency and through injury. You have Dre Greenlaw signed with Denver. Talanoa Hufanga, the safety, signed with Denver. The safety that was supposed to replace Hufanga in Denver, Malik Mustafa, wound up tearing his ACL in the regular season finale. The injury didn't come out until right after the draft, and he's going to have a hard time starting the season. They lost a number of defensive linemen. This team lost a lot more talent than people realize. And yes, the schedule is favorable and easier, but there are many losses that this team has to overcome this season.
This has become as Jim Nance might say, a tradition unlike any other.
Yes, and I'm glad that you have the schedule and you're seeing it. And we just talked. Let's lead with the Christmas game that you will be calling on Amazon Prime Video in this contest. The Broncos and the Chiefs, which, as you all know, last year came right down to the final kick, and the Chiefs survived. This should be a pretty darn big game on Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs own them. I think they went 6 or 7 years in a row without losing to Denver. But Denver has begun to turn things around. So we have that game. I think you guys talked about the night after Thanksgiving, or the afternoon actually after Thanksgiving. We have the Black Friday game. You know, I look at this schedule, and Rich, you and I are both, I think, old enough to remember the old cigarette commercial with the slogan, "You've come a long way, baby."
Nice.
I think that's how I look at Amazon now, because we started in 2022. The schedule had a couple of pretty good games, and then a lot of run-of-the-mill games. And then in 23, it became considerably better. Last year was great. The ratings were terrific, and we had a ton of really great matchups and wonderful games that people really loved. And this year, I look at this schedule, Rich, and you see the same thing that I'm seeing. Most of the games would be Sunday night or Monday night games as well. So, I mean, I think we're kind of right there where we had hoped to be 4 years into it. Because when you look at some of these games, Philadelphia at the Giants, that's the one that stuck out to me. Here comes Saquon with his Super Bowl ring into the Meadowlands. We've got the Philadelphia Eagles are on twice. So that was a big step for us, I think, at Prime, when we were able to get teams multiple times. We have Buffalo twice. We have the Rams, who I think could go all the way twice. I think Miami's in there twice. And then we have the flexible component as well. So we've come a long way, baby.
No doubt. Let's talk about that game on the Friday after Thanksgiving. That's the second Philadelphia game that you're referring to. You will be in Philadelphia. It'll be the Bears and the Eagles. And the Bears are just one of those fascinating teams that we're assuming they're going to be better with a new coach and obviously a little bit more weaponry around Caleb Williams and protection up front. This one should be a darn good one when you look at it right now.
And that's kind of it's a perfect way to, work off the tryptophan from the day before, obviously. So, it's 3:00 Eastern time. Everybody is up noon on the West Coast. So that's a game. Last year, we started the tradition a couple of years ago, and it's worked out very, very well. I think, the ratings have increased. And I think that's a game that, people now know there is an NFL game on Black Friday. So looking forward to that. But I'm going down this whole schedule here. Dallas at Detroit in week 14, 40. How about the first game for us, which is week 2 of the schedule, Washington at Green Bay. So I think we get off to a great start. And looking down this list of games, I'm really happy.
Yeah, I know Packers fans aren't going to be happy to see Deebo Samuel back there. They probably have a little bit of memories of a snowy, cold day in the playoffs. But the Commanders coming in with Jaden Daniels, I mean, you can't obviously get enough of that kid the way that he plays. Vikings at